Hey everyone, it's Dr. Rick, and hopefully you're all doing well. In Chicago, there's going to be a phase 3 lockdown coming tomorrow, Friday, and it's going to be tough. It has been tough since March, and we're not done with this, but really, honestly, the reason I'm doing this video is to let you know that I got COVID. And I want to let you also know how I beat COVID. So I did my own contact tracing as best as I could, going backwards in time. And yeah, there was one guy. I bought an outdoor fire pit. It was on sale. And I remember when the guy came to help me carry it. I didn't need help, but you have to have somebody carry it out of the Ace hardware store. He came up and he was coughing, number one. Number two, he didn't have a mask on. So he was within this. I had my surgical mask. I didn't have an N95, but within 2 days, I started with symptoms. So I'm sure there's other innocent contacts that I might have had, but that was the most outstanding. So please wear your screwy mask. It makes a difference. I don't care what political stance you have, but here's the thing, and I don't hold any grudges, but I bought the fire pit on Monday, and then I came down with symptoms on Wednesday. Got my COVID test, and my symptoms were chills and a little headache. And those of you who know I'm fibromyalgia, I can have a headache if I sleep too long. And so I just said, yeah, that's fine. But chills, no. Chills and fever mean infection. Sometimes inflammation, but mostly infection. So I got my COVID test on Thursday, and this is the result. So just to prove it to you, I went to Dr. Patel's office in Hoffman Estates. It says detected, COVID-19 detected. Not cool, but that's okay. So from that point on, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was done by Sunday. So I took all this crap, and I always take a lot of vitamins. And there are some colleagues of mine who say that I tell my patients, or I'm guiding my patients into placebo. 30% placebo is worked into the formula of any pharmaceutical when they put together data on their new drug. By the way, it costs about 1 to 3 billion per pharmaceutical industry when they launch, or they come up with the studies and they try or attempt to launch a new medicine. And can you imagine what this vaccine, because you have Pfizer and the other company, and they just so happen to both announce at the same time. The data sounds good. And for the folks for my patients and you viewers who have a lot of comorbid conditions, and I'll explain that in a second, I think the vaccine will be helpful. Personally, I usually wait when new medicines or new vaccines come out, at least 3 to 5 years. Since I started in 1995, there have been about a handful of medicines that have been released really quick with a lot of promises, and they did cause some deaths. So they were pulled back. That's just a small percentage, but I would always say after the research studies go through phase 3 testing, usually the long-term testing is when you watch the population respond. So thus far, I think there's Pfizer said 95% improvement, which is cool with no side effects. Have to see the data. I think it's being scrutinized by peers. So once they release the embargo on the study that Pfizer's put together, again, it's their study, we'll analyze it and take it apart. But for those with comorbid conditions, definitely worth it to have a little bit of an extra bump in fighting the disease process. But for those of you who have comorbid conditions, which is why I'm doing this video, reverse the freaking conditions. So, sorry, it's such a tough sell to get people to practice mindfulness. It's a tough sell to get people to initiate a new nutrition plan. I always hear, I know what to do, I just have to do it. And I totally disagree with that. If you knew what to do, that part of that knowing what to do is to have a sustainable plan. If you can't sustain it, that's not what you should be doing. Don't go back to old crap that didn't sustain you before. And then it's also hard to force people to sleep deep. I mean, it's important. And I just did a video on L-theanine, which has helpful use at night. It also has an antibiotic, supposedly, an herbal antimicrobial, I should call it. So anyway, I'll get into those things in a second, but it's a tough sell. It's a tough sell to tell people you have to exercise, and especially with phase 3, I disagree with closing gyms down. I think gyms will keep people healthy. I think that if you have a gym that honors social distancing, then it would be important, because once you cut that off, people gain weight. They become sedentary, and the data I'm going to show you, it relates sedentary lifestyle with increased morbidity. So anyway, it's a tough sell. Bottom line, it's a tough sell to get anybody to make lifestyle changes. And that's my job. Is if it's a tough sell, then I have to reformulate me and my team of coaches, whether it's cannabis coaches or coaches at the endorphin effect. We have to put together a short-term and long-term plan to get you successful. If we can get you to add a pinch of activity into your lifestyle, you will fare better. I mean, if you're thinking about decreasing the chances for cancer, heart attack, stroke, or any kind of long-term disease, just a little bit of exercise will decrease your chances by 30%. So let's get into it now. So hopefully you guys will watch till the end. But why am I talking about this? Because I think the same things that I practice every single day, I don't take all these every time, but just for COVID, I sped up my COVID treatment and suffering by doing this. So the same activities, here's the bottom line, I'll give you a spoiler. The same activities that I invest in hiking and exercise and mostly a plant-based diet and mindful practice, those are the same things that increase your chances of beating COVID, or at least having very little symptoms and leftover residual when you get the COVID infection. And I think in Chicago, it's 1 in 15 Chicagoans are going to be positive now. And that's it's gonna go higher because of the Halloween get-togethers, because of the rallies. You have to add 2 weeks to that, and you'll see the blossoming, and then the collateral damage from those that blossom and get the infection, another 2 weeks. So, and now we have kids flying back for Thanksgiving. Even if you socially distance at home, you still have a transport of infection from one state to your home state. So hopefully we'll see. But so I think we have at least 6 weeks of crap coming. So that puts us into 2021. And hopefully the vaccine that Warp Speed brings us is helpful. Anyway, so this is just a study that talked about caregiving. So nowadays with people staying at home, homeschooling, loss of job, there's a lot of caregiving going on. And even if it is from a distance, or if you're a parent, single parent, and you have to watch your kids or your kid or your grandfather or your parent, there's a lot of toll that's taken on the physical body and the mental body, spiritual body, when you have to caregive. My dad was in the ICU for about a month. I needed a break. Luckily, I had the hospital and the staff at the hospital help, and then my relatives came in, but even with that, it was draining. And I had to throw in hiking, and I had to throw in yoga and some me time. And it is important. It's not just, I'm suggesting this because you can go walk or surf or go shopping. That's not the objective. The objective is to remove yourself from a stressful type reaction. So the stress response, even though I have a lot of people that say, I'm not stressed out, every human is stressed out. You just might not interpret it. So if you have mostly episodes of stress all day long, even mini, and you have no mindful practice to neutralize that, you're asking for a dominant lifestyle of stress reaction, sympathetic response, endorphin, enkephalin, cortisol. That's not healthy. You have to balance that off. So those of you who say, I'm not stressed, hey, listen, please get your mindful practice in gear. And I just did a video with Patty Lorenzo, so check out the value of a mindful practice in family. So this essentially showed that caregivers have a higher chance of death. Now, it's not just death outright. You'd have the diseases that come up: high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, cholesterol, and with depression. And with those, you will have shorter lifespan. And not only that, you'll also have, and I'll show you why, you'll have a longer morbidity. So there's mortality, which is lifespan. And if you shorten that, that's a shame. There's also morbidity, which is not lifespan, it's health span. So let me show you in a second. So this is association, and those of you who've lost your jobs, this is association between low income and more disease, and it makes sense. But there's a concept that you can still be in control. There is something with regards to folks who have lower income because of COVID, conservation of resources, COR. And when you have a conservation of resources, parents that are so resilient always find a way. Even if the paycheck is dwindling, and I'm right there with you, I don't have medical insurance, and that scared me because I thought, oh shoot, if I go to the hospital, I don't have insurance. I'm working on it, but that is spooky. But I practiced my mindfulness, and I had trust that I would get past this because of all the years of investment in healthy lifestyle, and it paid off, thank God. So there's always a way. Conservation of resources. If you think you don't have an answer, get some help. There's always people that can guide you. Coaches, financial coaches, health insurance coaches, so brokers. Now there's also this concept of why should you be doing some leisure time activity. At leisure time activity doesn't mean you're going for a walk in the park. Leisure time activity means that outside of work, because I have a lot of people that work factories and they're putting 10 to 30,000 steps per day, that's honorable, but that's not leisure time. Leisure time activity, physical activity that's required to decrease your chances for dying from COVID or having a bad outcome, it involves activity outside of your work. So if you're, say, a construction worker, you use a jackhammer, or you work in a factory and you're constantly unloading stuff and carrying stuff. You work in Amazon. That's honorable, but that doesn't count. You have to add activities to your leisure time. And my parents probably don't have that much time, but you have to bottom 30,000 foot view. Bottom line is, do you want to have a disease that shortens your life or gives you heart attack, stroke, diabetes, insulin dependence, cancer, or do you want to fight it? And I'll present that in a second. So leisure time is important to break down into at least the nuggets of give me the essentials of what I need to do. And I'll show you what that was with the American Heart Association. So this is just it sounds like it sucks, because if you look at the data, if you add some type of activity during your leisure time, it increases the lifespan like four years. And when I first heard that, it's like underwhelming. Who cares about 4 years, especially if I'm 58. So if you were to tell me that when I turn 75, I have an extra 4 years, I can't fathom that right now. So why should I invest? But I know the value, so I do invest. Even when it's cold outside, 30 to 40 degrees, I'll still invest in going outside. And walking, Hippocrates talked about walking, his treatment for lifestyle. The best medicine is walking. So bet you didn't know that. So heal the body with food. That is your medicine. Anyway, American Heart Association talked about different activities, that basic building blocks. This is how much you're supposed to be doing. So 30 minutes. So there's different levels of activities. They're measured in metabolic equivalents of, so let's just talk about METs. It's just a measurement that physiologists will use to figure out and give you a guidance as far as what you're supposed to be doing. And jump roping is awesome. Boxing is great. I have an interview coming up with Tony, who just won Golden Gloves at 55. But there's never an age ceiling. You always can do anything. But so the American Heart Association came up with at least how much time you should spend. So it's about 150 minutes a week of moderate activity, 75 minutes a week of vigorous activity, and 2 days a week of strength training, which is important. So all those things that you do that the American Heart Association suggests is mostly for the American Heart Association and avoiding heart attack. But the same stuff translates to longer telomeres. That's the tail end of a chromosome that if you have longer telomeres, you live longer with less crap. Like the blue zones. If you've ever seen the blue zones, and I think I have a video on that, if you want to live independent and until you're like 100 without any reliance on anybody and going and driving and keeping mental faculties without going into a memory care or being stuck on in a ventilator, in a bed, you should invest. And again, most of you are too young to even fathom that. But look at your grandparents, look at the people that are stuck in the retirement home, memory care. You can end up that way. So use that picture and try to avoid it. That's your investment. That'll be the inspiration to invest in some type of activity. So I mentioned before, 30% decrease just by activities and exercise. 30% decrease in all-cause mortality. That's what that is. All-cause mortality. Cancer, heart attack, stroke. So just with activity. So you show me one medicine that gives you a 30% improvement. I mean, if you do have that without any side effects, cool, I take that medicine. But I guarantee you there's going to be side effects, whether it's financial or side effects physically. But is there any side effects of exercise? Theoretically, no. But it takes energy to move. It takes energy to maintain a plant-based diet. It takes energy and effort to have a mindful practice twice a day. It takes energy to hug your family members, I guess. But if you invest in that, you'll be a blue zoner. And if you're a blue zoner, you might have to take care of your great grandkids because they might not be blue zoners. But so here's a terrible statistic. So I'm talking about morbidity, and adding 4 years of life to something you can't fathom doesn't sound like much. But imagine this: if you invest in healthy lifestyle, you can either have the last 4 years being pretty tough, going from 75. Where is that? Well, I'll show you in the next slide. You can either invest and die suddenly at like 79. That would be cool. It doesn't sound cool, or you die slowly from 63 onward till you get to 79. And you have every age-related disease in the book and every age-related disease medicine and procedure in the book. I mean, that is tangible. The 4 extra years you get if you invest lifestyle change, that's not tangible. But at 58, I'm right around the corner from when the average American is supposed to start having age-related disease, 63. So if I start to manifest, I can't walk at 63. My memory's going at 63. I'm short of breath at 63. I have a little bit of a stent and a heart attack at 63. And then you extend your life because of all those life-saving procedures till 79, but you seeing your doctor like every month. That's not fun. And then your kids got to wipe your butt and keep on telling you the same story because you forgot what they were talking about and you don't know who you're with. That's not a lifestyle. So if you can't figure that out or you can't fathom that, just fathom this. You get COVID and you have all those medical problems that are going to start at 63. Your COVID is going to last months to years. So knock on wood, I was done. I started with my symptoms, like I told you, Wednesday. I was done by Sunday morning. And I'm pushing the envelope. That was a week ago. In the next 2 days, I'm going to start exercising again and fasting again. But I didn't want to stress the system too much. Again, nobody knows about this disease process, so I'm just giving myself 1 more week of all this stuff. There's a lot of crap. And yes, I do take a lot of vitamins, and I do everything else I talked about, plant-based diet, exercise, hike, mindful practice. I do all that stuff because I think there's an investment. I think I got it. I mean, I could feel it now, but hopefully I'll make it till 79 and then just croak overnight. Well, 100. What am I talking about, 79? 100. But this is also from, I don't know where this came from. I think this was the American Heart Association, or I thought it was a nice statistic. So if everybody dies at 79, you can either die just in 4 years of compression of disease, or you can die in 16 years of extension of disease. So both groups will die at 79, but one at the beginning of the age-related diseases, 63, will start to have crap. and the other will live independently, have a disease or two. I think at 75, you're going to have something. But if you can just compress it to a couple things, maybe the world is missing the great minds of before. Even if the minds weren't there, the spirit and just the presence of these life-saving people are memories at this point. And it's still important to maintain memory because there's value. And then if we pass on the stories to our young ones, more so than watching a video, I think there's value in storytelling. So yes, so before I end, I just wanted to, that's my argument, to hopefully none of you will ever have COVID. But if you do get the vaccine, hopefully the vaccine is cool without any side effects. If you don't get the vaccine and you just have the disease like I do, I have probably antibodies, I'll give you my antibodies. I'll donate. I donate my time, donate the last 25 years to my patients and my warriors just to inspire change. I'll donate my antibodies. But that's what it's going to come down to. However, we need more people that are going to fly through it quickly. And at the same time, if you make it through COVID in 4 days like me, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, done on Sunday, let's say 4 days in a couple hours. If you can make it through COVID like me, then the likelihood is if you maintain this, you'll make it till 79 plus without relying on anybody. And we'll have to take care of everybody else, but that's okay. So what am I doing here? I've done videos on, the only thing I don't like taking antibiotics. But the only thing I did do, because of the data I found from Italy, was Z-Pak. It's cheap. I use GoodRx because I don't have medical insurance. I think it was $8. Z-Pak, and that's the only thing I did. I don't have hydroxychloroquine, but I also take CBD twice a day. I try to do the best I can with regards to my gut. I have IBS, but it's under control. So I've done videos on all this stuff, honestly. My packet of quercetin, EGCG, and zinc, I think in the previous Corona 1, it showed there's data, and I'll put the links down below to the videos, showed data of improvement and by decreasing RNA replicase in the cells so you don't have as many viral particles produced. NAD, NAC, and skullcap, I think, keep the body and the metabolism and the mitochondria intact. So does fasting, but not right now. Don't try to fast when you have the infection. I think pulsing, it's called press pulse, but pulsing every once in a while would be important. I do intermittent fasting. I don't eat anything from like 8 to 9 p.m. until like 12. I try to avoid coffee. So I think that helps. I think these three things help. I'll probably put these away. I'm gonna finish with the zinc, thank God, because you take zinc too long, which does help in preventative. I did the video back in spring 2020, but you can't take zinc forever because it knocks out your copper. You need copper too. So after Sunday, I'm putting that stuff away. I'm gonna put my herbs away too. These are the mushroom family. I think mushrooms, whether it's turkey tail, red reishi, astragalus, technically astragalus isn't a mushroom, but they have been shown very useful in Chinese medicine. And this is my go-to. These are my go-tos. For those of you who don't follow me, I use this anytime I have an influenza exposure. This I use for COVID. If I have a cough and cold, if I have a sinus infection, I grab these guys, start taking them 3 times a day, and I put them back out. So I'm gonna put this away also on Sunday. I seem excited. And as far as my CBD, I will always continue with CBD. I've done a video on that. I think it's very helpful with immune system, with fibromyalgia, which is something I have, but I beat it down and it's under control. And I'll probably maintain with L-theanine. This is my new favorite as far as sleep versus melatonin. I've done videos on SAMe, but I love the effect of L-theanine for calming and deeper sleep, and it does have some antimicrobial effects. So hopefully when I put all this stuff away until, now it's influenza season, knock on wood if I don't get exposed, but I can put this stuff away. I'll go back to my usuals. High dose vitamin D, which I still take anyway. DHA, which is algae-based omega-3 oil. Magnesium is my go-to, and then curcumin when I start exercising again. So I'm going to reinitiate everything in 3 days. As far as exercise, my mindful practice I still do. I'm about to finish my book, and I am going to be working with Alexian Brothers. They have, because I'm positive now, I don't think I'm shedding any more viral load because I feel pretty decent. So I will be frontliner with St. Alexius as far as swabbing, not the emergency room, but swabbing, respiratory, they're called respiratory clinics, because theoretically, if I do get exposed to COVID, I can't get it again unless the virus morphs. And then I might be able to get that. But at this point in time, I feel protected and there's a need to serve and take care of people. So I theoretically have antibodies. I should be able to fight it. So there's a lot of people that are getting sick now, and there's going to be spikes all over. The hospital system is going to be overrun soon. So I'm going to man the outpatient. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. But again, bottom line is, thank God I made it past COVID. You too can do the same thing, but this is the investment. All my videos are on lifestyle change. And this is why. So I've put it to the test. It's hard to fathom me living till 100, but it's more tangible to fathom you can kick COVID's ass by living a healthy life, maybe taking your vitamins, and following me. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the alert button to see when I do new videos. Otherwise, I'll see you at the next video. Stay safe.